Hi, I'm Marsha, and this video is Vinyl Tag 2024. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel and watching my video. It is my favorite time of year, and that is Vinyl Tag time of year. Thank you so much to Rob Walker for putting this together. I know this is a lot of work, and I really do appreciate all the time that you take to put the playlist together and respond to everybody's comments who have made these videos. It is, I am sure, a labor of love for you, and I want to make sure that I give my appreciation to you for putting all of this together. Thank you, Rob Walker. Anyways, now on to Rob Walker's questions. I have a list of them here. I have a list of records here. I have a book of notes, and I have a very expensive computer in front of me that I don't know how to use very well. So this is not a professional organization at all. Okay, first question. Favorite record you purchased in 2023? It is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack. This is a record that was on my want list for a long time. I didn't have any luck in finding it. I finally found it at one of my local record stores when they were playing it on the turntable. I actually bought it off of the turntable. This is a mint copy first press, and it includes the fantastic original United Artists album jacket. This I want to reproduce and wallpaper my powder room in. And the other reason I like this record, in addition to it containing some of the most beautiful music ever made and ever put to film, is because my name is listed twice on the back. But actually, this is just an incredible record, which I have now come across about 20 times since I initially found it. My mom does not care about my record collection at all, but when I told her I found this, she was actually impressed that I owned it. It's just, again, it's incredibly beautiful. It's Marconi. You can't go wrong with it. The last record you bought in 2023. It is A Very Special Christmas, and I bought this on December 14th. I found this at a local record store for an incredibly cheap price of $10, because at this time of year, holiday season, this record goes for about $30-35 bucks. When it's not holiday season, it goes for about $20-25. So to find it for $10 11 days before Christmas is a steal. There was a price tag on it that showed the date that they put it out on the floor, and they put it out on the floor December 14th. I am sure if it sat there for another day, they would have realized they probably mismarked it and would have jacked the price back up. This is in flawless condition, both the jacket and the album, and as somebody who worked in the mall in the 80s, I know pretty much every song off of this album, and this was, again, something on my want list that I wanted for quite some time. So I was so happy to pick this up, and so happy that this was my last vinyl pickup in 2023. A band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. Okay, we've got Billion Dollar Babies. Alice Cooper released in February 1973. The follow-up was released in November 1973, and it is Muscle Love, Alice Cooper. I am not showing the jacket because I don't have it. I got this record free this year because it was in the album jacket of Killer, along with Killer and Welcome to My Nightmare. And my favorite local record store, My Honey Hole, just told me to take all 3 records home at no charge. So I felt like I owed it to them to put this record on my channel. And here's a close-up of the label, so you know for a fact that it is the Alice Cooper record. Number 4, if you could only listen to music from one decade, what decade would you choose? My head says the 60s. But my heart says the 80s. The 80s is when I fell in love with music. The 80s is when I became obsessed with MTV. The 80s was when I was a teenager, so I understand most of the pop culture references in the songs. So I were to listen to one playlist for the rest of my life, it would be an 80s pop hits playlist, and I would be perfectly happy doing so. Number 5, show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. So I had said in my last question, my head wants to say 60s, but my heart wants to say 80s. This is an album from the 60s. That was my first favorite album of my lifetime. It was owned by my mother. It was her copy, and this was also my first favorite band. And if you take a look at the back, you will see that this gentleman right here, Mr. J.V. Jones, his birthplace was Manchester, England. He is also 5'3" and has brown hair and brown eyes. Yeah, I had to choose this. I had to have it in there somewhere in this vinyl tag. Number 6, which band or artist did you listen to the most in 2023? So according to my Amazon playlist, my YouTube playlist, and just knowing myself very well, it was the Kinks. 2023, it was definitely the year of the Kinks for me. Number 7, show 7 7-inch records. Nope, don't have a 1. But I'm going to save those 7 responses for a question that's going to be coming up. Number 8, who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite? Now, I do a live stream every couple of Sundays with Steve from All the World's a Stage and Trevor from Flat Round and Spun. We do every other Sunday, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Please come and join us. We have a lot of fun over there. They're great guys. They have great channels. Please check those out as well. But we had this topic on one of our live streams. So I'm going to show you the same people that I chose when we covered that topic on the live stream today. So my first, John Taylor. I have been in love with John Taylor for 40 plus years. He is the most perfect specimen that has ever set foot on the face of the earth. This is a terrible record, but John Taylor is perfect. And I pretty much own it just so that I can lovingly look at that face. Get lost in his eyes. Because there really is no reason for anybody to own this record. Get the 45 of Notorious, because it is definitely the best song on this album. And, by the way, very young Chrissy Turlington on the back of this. Next, it's a band, but one band, one team, one invite. And it is the B-52s. Because where Kate and Cindy goes, so must Fred. My next choice would be Dolly Parton. She is an American icon. I want her at my party. And my final guest is Marian McKeeba. She is an incredibly talented woman who has the most beautiful voice I have ever heard. In addition, she is just a remarkable woman. She was exiled from South Africa. She came to the United States. She married a Black Panther. Edgar Hoover was involved. She's a breast cancer survivor, human rights activist, just a remarkable woman. The tales that she could tell us at the dinner party would probably make us inspired as well as make us cry. And I think we could just all learn from her determination to live a full life. Next question. I'm getting lost. Like I said, this is not a professional organization over here. We lost them. She was one musician who passed away in 2023. Robbie Robertson. I got this album back a couple months back from my friend Anthony Gambler, who has a channel. I'm going to link his channel in the description. I bought a bunch of records from him earlier, and he threw this one in for me as a freebie because Anthony is an incredibly generous guy, very personable. Please check out his channel. He's just a fabulous human being. He threw this in for me because I decided that I didn't want this because I already had it on CD. And again, he's an incredibly nice, generous man, so I threw it in. And when I got it, I want to say Robbie Robertson passed away the next day or 2 days after I got it. You know, this is a record that I really, really, really adored in the early 90s. This is a Daniel Lanois produced album, and I had read a review at one point in time that had said that Bob Dylan's Oh Mercy was the most Lanois of all of Daniel Lanois' albums. But I disagree with that assertion. I think it's this one. I think this one is the most Lanois of Daniel Lanois' album. It's got Peter Gabriel guest starring. It's got U2 guest starring. They recorded it in New Orleans. Daniel Lanois plays guitar in it more than Robbie Robertson actually does. I did see an interview with Daniel Lanois after Robbie Robertson had passed away, and he had said if I could do this album over, I would have asked him to play guitar on it more. But apparently that was something that he had moved past in his life. So yeah, Robbie Robertson. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. What country would you choose? I am initially from Metro Detroit. I spent the first 33 years of my life there. Detroit has an incredibly rich music history. Aretha Franklin, the MC5. I've not even shown the Motown. Of course, it's the United States. I am going to be listening to music from the United States. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. I'm going to name more than that. I'm going to break the rules, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I discovered Steve at All the World's a Stage. I discovered Trevor at Flat Round and Spun. Like I had said, we do live stream videos every couple of Sundays, and we've become all great friends. I consider them some of my fondest friends, and I would like to think that they think of me the same way. I had no idea who those gentlemen were earlier this year. I discovered Glen Kellaway's channel. I have become great friends with Glen Kellaway and his family. His daughter lives several miles away from me, and I met up with Glen and his daughter at the Orlando Record Show over the summer, and I now do a video series with Glen. Please check that out over on the Canadian Studmuffins channel. We have a lot of fun over there recommending and reviewing albums. Basically, all the panelists pick an album, which I then say the following week is no good. But it's a lot of fun. Glen has been a great friend. I've become friends with his daughter. It just... everything about the vinyl community that I had hoped in making my first video and follow-up videos has come to fruition, which was for me to connect with people who have the same hobby as myself. Some of the other channels that I have found this year that I absolutely adore, Alex from Beer and Vinyl, Craig Danger, Bene and Vinyl Cats and Other Delights. He doesn't make a lot of videos. He doesn't have a lot of subscribers, but his videos are incredibly weird in the most wonderful way possible. Please check his stuff out. Yeah. Oh, and my last one here, Retro Musings. She is so interesting. She does incredible content, and I am desperate to be her friend. Yeah. Next question. Show a record you bought when you were a teenager. I didn't buy records when I was a teenager. When I was 13 years old, I was gifted a couple of records on my birthday, and then quickly soon thereafter, I started buying cassettes for myself. So, one of the cassettes that I bought that I have now on vinyl is U2 The Unforgettable Fire. I know that a lot of people like to take shots at U2 these days. I know for some it is their favorite sport, but to me as a teenager and to me as an adult, U2 is still a very important band. I don't think I would be the music nerd that I am today if it wasn't for U2. Next up, Show a Funk or Soul record. Mandrill, just outside of town. A little bit of Afrobeat, a little bit of Latin beat, a whole lot of funk. Next question, show a record you think everyone has, then show a record you think nobody has. A record everybody has. Who's next? The Who. A record you think that nobody has? No. If you haven't picked up on it already, my tastes are pretty pedestrian. She's Great. A record by a female artist you bought in 2023. All right, this was a record released in late 2021, Cat Power. I'm a big fan of her work. I was extremely happy to have come across this used copy of this album. Can't recommend it enough. And then just within the last couple of weeks, I picked up her latest release on CD. Cat Power sings Dylan. This is a cover album in which she repeats the Bob Dylan's Royal Albert Hall concert, which actually wasn't recorded at Royal Albert Hall. It was recorded in a theater in Manchester, but she actually did record this at Royal Albert Hall. This is an incredible record. I can't recommend it enough. It is laid out just like the bootleg release of Bob Dylan's that he put out in the mid-90s. The acoustical CD that I have here, this is a 2 CD set. It's incredibly moving. I cannot recommend it enough. The favorite video you posted on your channel in 2023 and the favorite video you watched on the VC in 2023. So my favorite video that I posted in 2023 was my Vinyl Tag 2023 video. And the reason it's my favorite is because it did exactly what it was supposed to, which was introduce me to new channels and have channels find out who I am. I made a lot of friendships, as I had indicated earlier. The best part of the VC is connecting with people who have the same hobby that you do. In my everyday life, I don't have people who like records. I don't really socialize with people who are into music like I am. You know, as soon as I start talking about music, their eyes, glaze over and they want to run away from me and fast. So finding people who share these interests of mine on the internet has just been extraordinarily rewarding. Thank you again, Rob Walker, for putting all of this together. He did the 2023 Vinyl Tag as well. My favorite videos I watched on the VC in 2023. This is where I'm going to supplement the 7 inches question. And I have notes. And I got this notebook here from Steve at All the World's a Stage. Steve Carlson, his videos on record store tours, love them all. Any video of Robert Fithen's in which he criticizes Steely Dan is a favorite of mine, since that is my least favorite band of all time, and I think he actually detests them more than I do. More than me and my mother do, because my mother can't stand that band. It is a learned behavior. So basically, all of his videos are some of my favorites, as well as the vinyl community Guncles, because he does not like Steely Dan a lot, as it should be. Paul did a video about autographed records he owns and the autographs he obtained from Kiss. Those stories are not to be missed. Craig's Vinyl Plethora did an album for every year of his life. Richard Riley, The Roots of Soul Music, was incredibly educational. I learned a lot from that video. Lost Mixtapes ranked the Neil Young records. That was a really great series he put together. The Rev Rockin Rollin, Arguments for Thanksgiving, hysterical video. And Jeff Whitcher did a deep dive on World Party's Goodbye Jumbo, which was just fantastic. Everything about it was great. The editing, the sound clips, what he had to say about one of my favorite records from the 90s. I must have watched that video probably 20 times. As well, Rob Walker had mentioned Stevie's vinyl covered video in which he did the lost record covers. I didn't quite understand the title of that video and how it was related to anything he did in it, but that video was a cinematic masterpiece and had me howling over with laughter. It was just so good. So good. I recommend that one too. Next question. Show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. Okay. Oasis from Manchester, The Master Plan. This record is a compilation. It is a compilation of rarities and B-sides, and it is extremely cohesive outside of their awful cover of I Am the Walrus. This was put out in the late 90s, and it is 1,000% better than Be Here Now. Again, it is incredibly cohesive for rarities and B-sides, and a lot of Oasis fans will say this is their third best record, and a lot of Oasis fans will say this contains Oasis's best song, Acquiesce, which strangely enough has the lyric because we believe in each other, but I mean, see how well that turned out. Next question. If I could walk into the cover, look through your collection, and choose a record cover you'd like to be a part of, the Everly Brothers, and it is Two Yanks in England. And as you can see here, I'm going to bring this in a little bit closer. They're traversing all over the city of London, swinging 60s London, and on the back of it, they've got a bunch of write-ups about things to do and see in the city. It starts off, like the rest of the world, the Everly Brothers have discovered England. But Don and Phil Everly were explorers. They've been hitting London almost annually for a decade. They're part of the whole scene there. They're what's happening in London, just as much as Gene Shrimpton, Terence Stamp, Mary Quant, George Hamilton, and co. London, their kind of town. So will be yours too. It isn't. Wait, it's got a typo here. It says it isn't. Or it isn't. I'm going to assume it's supposed to say if it isn't already. To help prepare you, here's some of the highlights from the Everly Brothers' own London. For menswear, Lord John Boutique on Carnaby Street. For birdswear, I love that. The Bazaar at 46 Brompton, SW3, where the Mary Quant look is in fullest flower. At this HQ, you can doll thyself with the latest in miniskirts and the new must, a pantsuit with bell bottoms. Then walk out into Chelsea and knock the men loopy. And my camera is kind of falling down here. Again, this is not a professional organization. For eats, Parks at 4 Beauchamp Place. For groceries, Baker's, Kensington High Street. For pubbing, Thomas A. Beckett. For anything else, anything for anyone, 29 Paddington Street. All my UK VC friends, tell me if these places are still in existence. I should probably talk about the record a little bit. So this is a very charming record. They cover a lot of Hollies songs, the Hollies being from Manchester. I saw an interview with Graham Nash where he says he got a call from the Everly Brothers and they had asked them if the Hollies had any songs they wanted to lend them to put on a record they were recording the next day. And the Hollies were extremely excited because the Hollies, they named themselves after Buddy Holly, but they wanted to sound like the Everly Brothers. So they gave him a bunch of songs. They even went to the studio and they back Phil and Don on some of these tracks. As well, the lead electrical guitarist on this is Jimmy Page. The bassist is John Paul Jones. And the keyboardist is a pre-Elton John Reginald Dwight. Again, it is just absolutely charming and an endearing record. It is not easy to find in the US from what I'm to understand. When I bought it off of Discogs, there were only 2 copies available. One without the cover and this one. but apparently it is a very easy record to find in the UK. Next question. It's like your greatest hits. Again, this camera keeps falling. Camera phone. It's like your greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits. Madonna, the debut. Madonna from Detroit. This record, it's got Lucky Star, Borderline, Burnin' Up, Holiday. If I were to compile a top 10 list of my favorite Madonna songs, this would almost take care of the entire list. I adore this record. Again, I had said earlier, if I were to have to listen to a playlist from one decade from the rest of my life, it would be the 80s. And our final question, show me an album that was released in 1974. So when Rob asked this question last year and said, show an album from 1973, I showed Mott the Hooples, Mott. So I'm going to finish it off and show Mott the Hooples, The Hoople from 1974. Thank you so much for watching my stupid camera. Thank you so much for watching my 2024 vinyl tag video. I have looked forward to doing this video for the last couple of months. I brought Eddie back out of retirement for this video. If you don't understand that reference, please go ahead and watch my Vinyl Tag 2023. I'm just going to hold this for the rest of the video. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. If you are somebody who is on the fence about wanting to do a VC video, do a vinyl tag video, go for it. Do it. It is an experience that has done nothing but enrich my life. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a very happy new year. Bye.